2023 is going to be a huge year for Germany, and wanted to get into that. 2023, the year ahead in German culture and society. New year, new rules, and a look of measures set to influence Germany's cultural life and society in 2023, including dual citizenship, cannabis legalization, and cultural access for young people. Germany is set to decide on or introduce a host of measures and legislation directed at social, cultural issues in the country. Here's a look at some of the hottest topics that will feature in the news this year. Number one, dual citizenship, which a lot of you guys know that has been kind of an issue for a while. A lot of foreigners have wanted to have dual citizenship in both Germany and other countries and stuff like that. Some people in Germany want to have residences in other countries and whatnot without, totally renouncing their citizenship in Germany. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but we'll get into this. With few exceptions, Germany does not allow EU nationals to have a German citizenship in addition to their original citizenship. Now, a draft law has been introduced that would let people become naturalized German citizens without having to relinquish their previous citizenship. Now, that's pretty common when it comes to gaining citizenship in general. When you do gain a new citizenship in another country, normally your former country wants you to renounce your citizenship, so you're exclusively a citizen of the said new country instead of your old country. But my thing is, why can't you just be a resident of multiple countries? What's the problem with that? The issue a lot of people might bring up is taxes and stuff like that, and you using some of the benefits from different countries and whatnot. But I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. The proposed legislation would also ease the path to citizenship, including reducing the required length of residency. And here's a picture with a woman with two passports, Turkey and Deutschland. Now, number two is huge. Legalization of recreational cannabis. Now, this has been happening all over the United States. It's been sweeping the nation, and it's actually society-based, wise, I guess, cultural-wise, right? It's a lot more socially acceptable to partake in grass burning activities. Cannabis for medical use has been legal in Germany under strictly defined circumstances since 2017. Now, the government intends to legalize the drug for recreational use. A proposed legalization of framework would allow adults to possess up to 30 grams, approximately 1 ounce, of cannabis, as well as home cultivation of 3 cannabis plants per adult. That's actually even crazier. Like, y'all can grow stuff in your homes. I mean, we could do that, I guess, here I guess we could do that in the States as well. But I guess it's neither here nor there. I just didn't think Germany would take action to do something like that. It's a pretty big deal. Recreational use is currently illegal in Germany, but possession of small amounts is generally not prosecuted. The proposed legalization has strong opposition. The legislation is likely to have a long road ahead of it. Now, Germany, as we all know, is very conservative, generally speaking, so the likelihood of this being expedited is slim. However, it will be one of the main talking points for a lot of the political issues and stuff like that in Germany this year, most likely. That's one of the easiest carrot on a string tactics that politicians can use to get young people involved in the voting process, only for them to rug pull their promises after they are voted into power. The next point is the Kulturpass. New adults get 200 euro for culture. So to give Germany's cultural institutions a post-pandemic lockdown boost, the culture ministry is introducing the Kulturpass, or the Culture Pass. It gives everyone turning 18 in 2023 a 200 euro coupon for use to use for purchases ranging from cinema or concert tickets to museum admissions and even books and vinyl records. The pass will be introduced in the spring, and the ministry says that if it's a success, the scheme will be expanded to include people from 15 to 17 years old. Now, I still don't understand this fully. I guess it's more like, I'm not sure why they're calling it a culture pass. I guess it's because the culture ministry is literally doing this or whatever, but it's pretty much a post-pandemic relief check. So it has nothing really to do with like your background, really, right? It says it just gives everyone turning 18 in 2023 a 200 euro coupon to use for purchases ranging from cinema or concert tickets to museum admissions or even books and vinyl records. I have no idea. Like, what are the prerequisites for this? I have so many questions about this. This is interesting to me because this seems too good to be true. And also, it seems very vague in what qualifies you to receive this 200 euro besides the fact that you turned 18 that year in that country. Number 4, self-determination for transgender people. The coalition government has drafted legislation aimed at lowering the hurdles of gender transition for trans people. In current law, parts of which the country's constitutional court has repeatedly ruled unconstitutional, requires an expensive and time-consuming procedure involving external reviewers and compulsory therapy, which many advocates say is invasive and humiliating, and German Supreme Court has ruled it unconstitutional. The new draft law would allow trans people to change their legal gender status and access treatment for medical transitioning without the external assessment. Well, I've never thought of this before, but I guess that's a pretty big thing because, I mean, while a lot of things are changing rapidly, one of the things is trans issues and whatnot. Because, I mean, I can definitely tell you, even as recent as 5 years ago, a lot of those ideals weren't really accepted, not only globally, but even like mainly in America, right? Like the idea of that was just like, people took it as a joke. So the fact that they're making moves to make things easier is a W. Live your life. And the final point right here is diversity at cultural institutions. This one is limited to Berlin for the time being, but may have a ripple effect across the country. Berlin's local government has given 5 publicly funded cultural institutions a total of 500,000 euro to employ anti-discrimination and diversity advisors. Those institutions include the Staatsballett, which faced charges of racism from one of its dancers in 2021. So I think out of all of this, the 3 most powerful points that are going to stand out that a lot of people are going to talk about for sure. The dual citizenship has been a thing that people have been discussing. People from Germany and stuff like that, people from other countries trying to move to Germany and get their dual citizenship that are in the EU. More specifically, they're trying to, find a way to obtain dual citizenship. And it's been a very daunting and tricky process to do that without relinquishing your prior citizenship, which would then not make it dual citizenship. It just makes it a new citizenship for you, right? And then you have the cannabis issue, right? That has been the number one actual issue that a lot of people have been talking about for years, because the fact that Germany is even considering making this moderately remotely legal, and I guess it is legal when it comes to medical use, but there's a lot of parameters and stuff that you have to follow with that. That's also huge. So there's a lot of moving parts here. And I guess the third thing that a lot of people are looking at is, I guess, the trans issues and stuff is pretty huge. I mean, like I said, society is changing very rapidly. One thing that they didn't mention is the changing of the German language, actually. And I think that is, a big thing that no one's talking about, with people being more gender neutral and stuff when it comes to how people would like to be addressed and being more inclusive with speech. I've been hearing that the German language might possibly be getting a revision where there will be words that and even conjugations that refer to people not as he or she, but they, which is very confusing, like using gender neutral speech again, I guess. So languages like German and Spanish, for instance, will be kind of affected by this. And I'm not saying it'll be this is what you have to use, but this is something that has been brought up several times. And I wonder how that's going to impact the public and stuff like that. People who've lived there already for all those years, and they're like, wow, that's kind of crazy.